Stampers, this is Marie Bennett with episode 8 of Tools of the Trade, and this episode is all about punches. Punches are tools that cut designs in paper, and this punch is called a border punch, and the design that it would cut is a little heart design. And you open this punch, when you get your punches, they will be flat like this. And if you look at the front of the punch, you can see the design that the punch makes. So when you store it, you just store it on a shelf with this label pointed out so that you can see what the punch looks like. These punches lock closed so that they store flat. And you open them by turning them over and sliding the lock, and then the punches open. The open side of the punch that has the label is the handle, so the paper goes under the side that's opposite where the label is. So if I were to slide a piece of paper in here, I'm going to see if I can find a piece of scratch paper. I don't really throw my scraps away. I usually hang on to them, and then I have them when all I need is a small piece of paper to add to a card. So looking at the punch, there's a groove right here, and if I line the edge of the paper up with that groove and then just give it a punch, you can see all the little hearts that came out when I punched the paper. So you can use those as decoration on a card, or you can use the paper itself as decoration on a card. Can you see the hearts that were punched out? Okay. Now if I want to punch this whole length of the card, what I'll do is turn the punch over, get it to the point where it's all hearts. So I don't see any holes in there. It's all red paper. So I'll line that, I'll give that a punch. Really have to squeeze hard. And with these, it's probably better to put them on the table and just push hard. Like that. And then all your little pieces that you punched out come off on the table. We have lots of different kinds of border punches. This punch right here cuts the entire edge out and makes a fancy little border along the edge of the paper. This punch punches out a row of hearts. So let's put that next to the... So when I do that, it doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't cut the edge of the paper like this one does. It just makes a row of hearts all along the border. And whenever you punch a hole in a piece of paper, then you have two things you can use. You can use the hole on a card, or you can use whatever it was you punched out of the hole. In addition to border punches, we also have specialty punches. This punch makes a cupcake, and you use it the same way. You turn it over, unlock it, and then on the back you can see the different pieces that it'll cut out. It'll cut out the little cupcake paper, it'll cut out a frosting area, a cherry to put on top, or a candle, and 3 little confetti looking things on the side. Now when you're using this punch, you're probably not going to want the whole cupcake to all be the same color. So if you have a small piece of scrap like this, you can stick that in there. Oh, let's say I want my frosting to be pink. So I'm going to cut out the frosting. And maybe I want my cupcake liner to be this black and white design. So if I stick that in there, cut it out, then I've got a little cupcake design with some pink frosting. And then on top of that, maybe I want to put a cherry on top. So I could, where did I put the punch? Holy smokes. I can turn the punch over so that I can see where that cherry is. There it is. And if I just give it a punch, now I've got one cherry to put on top of my cupcake. So you don't have to cut the whole cupcake out of just one piece of paper. So save your scraps because they'll come in handy. And when you get too many scraps and you know you're not going to use them all, then just recycle some of them in your paper recycling program. Alright, so that's the cupcake. Now I'm done using this punch. So what I do is I squeeze it shut and slide the lock in place. Another specialty punch we have is the Christmas tree punch. And this punch, you can, it goes with a stamp set, so you could stamp some trees and then punch them out, or you could use some of our pretty designer series papers if you've got scraps of those, and just slide your paper in place like this, punch it, and then you've got a really pretty little Christmas tree to put on a card. Right. Another kind of punch we have is a label punch. So, or a greeting punch. So what you do is you would stamp your greeting, like maybe you want to say happy birthday. So you would stamp happy birthday on a piece of card. Okay, so I have stamped birthday greetings in a color called Blackberry Bliss. And now I want to punch that out to make a label for a card. So I get my label punch, open it up, and I want this greeting to be really well centered on my label. So I just keep moving it around until it gets exactly where I want it to be. Not quite. And then I punch it out. And when you do it this way, stamp first and then punch, you don't have to worry so much about is your greeting going to be straight or crooked? Is it going to fit? Because when you punch it out, you can see exactly where it fits on the label, and you don't have to worry about not being able to get it exactly where you want it to be. If you punch the label first, then you have issues. So it's better to stamp and then punch. And always when you're finished, squeeze it shut, lock it in place, and then put it back on the shelf where it goes. Okay, we have another kind of punch called a tag punch. These punches, for the most part, take a tag 2 inches wide. So this piece of scrap is a little too wide for this punch. I need a piece that is 2 inches. Let's see if I can find. Here I have a piece of scrap that's 2 inches wide. First thing I have to do is unlock the... Okay, I have to unlock the punch and then take my piece of scrap, slide it into place until it gets to the end and it won't go any further. And then just to make sure, I turn it over. Yep, it's at the end. I give it a squeeze, get rid of the waste, and then I have a tag for a gift. We've got a couple of styles of tags, tag punches. This one is called a scallop tag punch, and there's one called an angle tag punch. And then we have another one that punches out just a gift tag. So this one, you just put your piece of scrap in there. Let's see what I have. Here's a piece. I just slide my piece of scrap in there. I can do it at an angle. And punch. And it punches out the tag. The whole tag. So that's that one. Okay, some other punches we have are punches that you might want to, like maybe you've stamped a flower or you want to make a flower. Let's see, let's say I want to make a pretty purple and yellow flower. So all I have to do is just punch. Okay, so after I have punched my little flower, I could put a rhinestone in the center if I wanted to give it a little bling, or a little button of some kind or something, or I could just use my scissors or my bone folder and give this little flower a little dimension of its own by kind of curling up the edges like this, and then when it sits on the card it looks a little bit more like a flower. Okay, this punch is an edge punch, and it makes an edge that looks like a piece of paper that you would stick inside of a notebook. So if you put your paper in there and give it a squeeze, then you can see it makes an edge like a notebook. And it just gives a little bit of interest to a tag that you could put as a layer on top of a card. And as usual, when you're done, squeeze it and lock it in place. Alright, so there are many, many, many stamps or punches that you can get to make your cards interesting. These are just, they call them paper punches, just like you would buy at Walmart or Staples or any store really, but they come in a variety of sizes. So this punch will punch a hole about 1/8 of an inch wide. This punch will punch a hole about twice as big, so 1/4 of an inch wide. And so we have, depending on what you are trying to do, we have punches that will just punch holes of various sizes. So punches are easy to use and they make your cards really interesting. Next episode is going to be about a tool called the envelope punch board. So until then, thanks for watching.